This week, we start our First Communion Masses on Sunday the 11th at 1 o'clock and on Sunday, May 18th at 1 o'clock. A bunch of our second graders will receive Holy Communion for the very first time. They're not going to have to get up in line anymore and cross their arms and get a blessing. They'll be able to come up with their whole families now, and with mom and with dad and with the community, and receive the body of Christ for the very first time and for the rest of their lives. What a great joy. What a magnificent moment this is for these young people. And I'm so excited that we get to celebrate this sacrament together. And for all of you young kids, I'm so proud of you and I'm so happy for you. You're becoming a little bit more part of the fullness of the body of Christ. You're becoming more a part of our church. And you have so many wonderful, delightful gifts that you can share with us. And I can't wait for you to grow up in this church and be a part of this faith community with us. We have so much promise. We have such a bright future because you young people are part of us. And this is where you belong. And for you parents, I want to thank you for bringing your kids to the classes this year so that we could work with you in preparing your children for this great sacrament. The classes that have prepared your children for their Holy Communion talk a lot about the fact that Jesus Christ is the bread of life, that He comes to them in His flesh and in His blood, in His soul and His divinity. And those are really big concepts for little 8-year-old minds to have to grasp. But they get it. It's a mystery. And I think it's one of those mysteries that the older we get, the less we can understand it. But they get it. And I want to encourage you to keep in mind, please, that they can get it mostly because of your faith, not because of what we can teach them. I've always held the understanding that all we can do here in the parish and in our religious education program is to augment the lessons that you promised you would teach your children when they were baptized. Now, I've never met a perfect disciple, and God knows I myself am far from that. However, truth has to be an integral part of our vocations. And what your children need to see from you is truth. Parents, I'd like to ask you to think back on when your second graders were little babies. And you would sit them in their high chairs. And, especially when they were really, really, really little, you may have even had to make sure they had to still learn how to sit down. I can remember my little brother, first sitting in the high chair, and he'd almost slide underneath it. We didn't have the straps like they have now, so the high chairs are much safer. And you had to spoon feed them, and you had to give them the right kind of food every day, every meal. Otherwise, they'd get sick, and that could actually kill them with starvation. And And so kids need to learn how to eat. And I can't imagine parents not teaching them how to receive the food that is good for them. Now, with the spiritual life, that takes a lot of learning too. A lot of it. And I think I, as a pastor, have the responsibility of trying to instill within all the people of this parish that really important lesson. You see, we are human. We are flesh and blood, like Jesus Christ was. But we are also spiritual. We are soul, and we're called to a life of divinity. And we have to learn how to be spiritually fed. Otherwise, our lives are not complete. And I want to encourage all of you who are parents of the second graders to please remember that the Eucharist is spiritual food. And if all that we want to do is bring our children to a nice meal and give them a lovely party, then I think that's a good thing. I really do. But that's not at the heart of what this sacrament is all about. And if you have that attitude that there's more that we can offer, more that we can give our children, then the truth of what this sacrament will bear great fruit in their lives. And that truth is revealed by your decision, your choice to say, I will feed my children, and I who am hungry will also eat.